All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It is that time of the week, folks. My weekly picks in the world of the National Football League, my last edition of the weekly picks of the NFL for the calendar year of 2024. And I want to take this time out to wish all of you out there a very happy and healthy 2025. So we are in the waning stages of this 2024 NFL season. Of course, the action here in week number 17 has been spread out throughout the week. We had two games on Christmas Day, one more last night, three tomorrow, one Sunday night, one Monday night, and then, of course, the rest of the action that will take place on Sunday afternoon. Nonetheless, I'm 3-0 so far this week. I took the Chiefs to take care of business in the Steel City against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I did not expect Kansas City to dominate in the fashion that they did, but we're talking about a team that's 15-1, and they have a look of a team that could become the first three-peat champion in Super Bowl history uh, if they get it done a couple of months from now. Nonetheless, later on that day, I picked the Baltimore Ravens to defeat the Houston Texans. I thought that game was going to be a lot closer than it was. The Texans are simply limping to the finish line. They still are the NFC South champions, but nonetheless, the Baltimore Ravens are showing with their power running game with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry that they're going to be extremely formidable come next month in the postseason. And finally, last night, I took the Seattle Seahawks to win on the road against the Chicago Bears. Seattle won, not as much scoring as any of us expected, as the final score was 6-3, kind of like the Mariners beating the White Sox. But nonetheless, the Chicago Bears simply just cannot get out of their own way. But nonetheless, we've got three good games on tap for tomorrow, a slew of contests for Sunday, as well as the Monday night affair. And with that said, here are my picks for week number 17 in this NFL season. Now, tomorrow afternoon at Foxborough, you've got the 9-6 Los Angeles Chargers strolling into town to take on the 3-12 New England Patriots. This is a very important game for the Lightning Bolts as they still are in play to possibly be the fifth seed, okay, in the postseason on the AFC side. They cannot, and I repeat, cannot look past the New England Patriots because the Patriots have been playing tough lately. They're 3-12, and head coach Gerard Mayo is trying to build his foundation. And the Patriots are very game. Just asked the Buffalo Bills about that from last Saturday. But nonetheless, this is one of those adverse situations that if you're head coach Jim Harbaugh, you live for, you thrive for, and his team has quickly bought in to what Jim Harbaugh is selling. Thus, I think the Chargers go east tomorrow and take care of their business over the Patriots by the score of 22-17. Now, in the Queen City, you got the 7-8 Cincinnati Bengals holding on rather to some slim playoff hopes, which basically could be extinguished tomorrow as they host the Denver Broncos. The Bengals more than likely are going to miss the postseason this year, but it's not going to be from the contributions of quarterback Joe Burrow and wide receiver Jamar Chase. I mean, arguably one of, if not the best quarterback receiver combo going right now in the National Football League. On the flip side, for the Denver Broncos, it's come together very quickly under Sean Payton. Of course, this is year number two. He has his quarterback that he wants in rookie quarterback Bo Nix. And the Broncos are simply finding a way to get it done. However, Cincinnati comes into this contest favored by 3.5 points at home. I think this is going to be a phenomenal affair that comes down to the end, but I'm going to take the Bengals to take care of their business by the score of 24-22. And finally, the nightcap for tomorrow night has the Los Angeles Rams hosting the Arizona Cardinals. And for the Rams, this is an opportunity for them to win the NFC West for the first time since 2021. Let's not forget, the Rams started off very slowly, and it looked like they were still in the midst of this rebuild. But credit to head coach Sean McVay for rallying the troops. For Arizona, I expected them to be an up and down team this year. I expected them to be in the mix, to be in contention for a postseason spot as well. However, it just never came to fruition. And of course, with last week's loss to the Carolina Panthers, the Cardinals are officially eliminated. And at this point, they got to try to find a way to play spoiler. I don't see the Cardinals playing spoiler on the Rams tomorrow night. I think the Rams win and clinch the NFC West by the score of 27-23. Now, moving on to Sunday in Orchard Park, you've got the 12-3 Buffalo Bills hosting the 4-11 New York Jets. And of course, when the schedules came out earlier this year, there were some people around that circled this game as the possible de facto AFC East championship game. Well, I'm here to tell you that Buffalo kept up their end of the bargain. The Jets, not so much. And that is a big reason why Buffalo is favored by 9.5 points in this game. Josh Allen is hurt, but he's playing through it. And as Josh Allen goes, so do the fortunes of these Buffalo Bills. For the New York Jets, they show flashes, especially on offense with quarterback Aaron Rodgers, but they simply have not been able to put it together for a full 60 minutes. Buffalo comes into this contest favored by 9.5 points tomorrow. I'm going to take the over on this one, and I'm going to take the Bills at home by the score of 31-20. Now, in a contest that somebody's got to win, you've got the 3-12 Las Vegas Raiders traveling to take on a familiar friend, maybe, in the 5-10 New Orleans Saints. Of course, once upon a time, Derek Carr was the franchise quarterback of the Raiders before being released and signing with the Saints. Carr is injured right now. Looks like it's going to be the Spencer Rattler show once again down in New Orleans. And on the flip side for the Raiders, Antonio Pierce's team continues to fight, and they finally found a way to win another game last Sunday. And the bottom line is this team is fighting for Antonio Pierce, and I think they are going to keep fighting come Sunday afternoon. Thus, I'm going to take the silver and black on the road by the score of 20-17. Now, at MetLife Stadium, the New York Football Giants, a team who currently has the worst record in the National Football League, are also looking to avoid becoming the first NFL franchise to go 0-9 in a season at home. They're hosting the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are coming in favored by 7.5 points. Of course, their starting quarterback, Anthony Richardson, is dinged up. He's questionable with several injuries. However, I do believe that Richardson will be able to go in this game. I think, by halftime, it's really not going to matter. The Giants are not a good football team right now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The only drama left for this contest, in my opinion, is whether or not some Giant fans are going to have another plane flying over, expressing their disgust towards John Mara and his franchise. That's the bottom line. Nonetheless, I'm going to take Indianapolis on the road by the score of 30-17. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles missed an opportunity to wrap up the NFC East last week. They get another opportunity on Sunday afternoon at home when they host the 7-8 Dallas Cowboys. Philly comes into this contest favored by 7.5. More than likely, they're going to have to do it without starting quarterback Jalen Hurts, who appears to still be in the concussion protocol, which means that head coach Nick Sirianni is going to have to go with Kenny Pickett at quarterback. Nonetheless, I think with Kenny Pickett at quarterback, I know that the Eagles have talented skill positions, but the bottom line is they got to get back to getting the football to Saquon Barkley early and often. Just get him the football, get out of his way, and take some pressure off of Kenny Pickett. This Dallas Cowboys offense has looked better with Cooper Rush, but nonetheless, now you're not going to have CD Lamb for the remainder of the season. And with no CD, I think there goes Dallas's opportunity to play spoiler in this one. Thus, I'm going to take Philadelphia to clinch the NFC East by the score of 24-17. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they missed an opportunity to stay ahead of the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC South last Sunday with their loss to the Dallas Cowboys. Now they welcome the Carolina Panthers to town. And of course, the Panthers are 4-11. And this is a team right now, at least, that you don't want to face. Why? Because if you're going to go out there and beat the Panthers, brother, you better pack a lunch because this team is bought into Dave Canales. Second year quarterback Bryce Young is starting to show signs of why he was taken first overall last year. And the Bucks are going to be in for a fight. But nonetheless, I know that Tampa is still dealing with a lot of injuries, but nonetheless, this team under head coach Todd Bowles, they just simply go out there and find a way to win. I think Tampa takes care of their business on Sunday by the score of 30-24. Now, in a battle, if you want to call it that, in the AFC South of teams where somebody simply's got to win, you got the 3-12 Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the 3-12 Tennessee Titans. Whole lot of nothing going on for both of these teams. Somebody's got to win. That's the bottom line. I think the first team to get the 10 points, not even 20, 10 points wins this game. Thus, I'm going to take Jacksonville at home by the score of 17-16. Now you got the 3-12 Cleveland Browns hosting the 7-8 Miami Dolphins. And of course, for the Fins, they're in that category of seeing their postseason hopes and aspirations hanging on by a thread. Now it's going to be interesting for this one. 57 degrees and raining, not typical Miami type weather. Will this offense be able to travel on the road and have success? The good thing for the Dolphins, they're playing the Browns, and the Browns offensively are terrible. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Miami is favored by 6.5. I'm going to take the Dolphins by a touchdown, 24-17. Now, a big one in the NFC North with playoff implications on it, as you have the 13-2 Minnesota Vikings hosting the 11-4 Green Bay Packers. And for Green Bay, this is an opportunity for them to get some confidence heading into the postseason. Why? Because if you look at the Packers' 4 losses this season so far, they have been against the NFC's elite. They lost to the Vikings. They lost to the Eagles to begin the season in Brazil. And then, of course, they were swept this season by the Detroit Lions. These are all teams that are ahead of them in the standings. And if Green Bay wants to win the NFC and get to the Super Bowl, they're probably going to have to go through them. The bottom line, first things first, I want to see this Packers defense going up against Justin Jefferson. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. And we've seen that connection this year between Justin Jefferson and, of course, quarterback Sam Darnold. You look at quarterback Jordan Love and this Packers offense, it's not just about Jordan Love. It's also about Josh Jacobs, the former Raiders running back. But then this Vikings defense, led by defensive coordinator Brian Flores, who I think is going to be a head coach of a team someplace next season. They have been known to stymie teams. But nonetheless, I think this is going to be a typical back and forth Vikings Packers affair. Minnesota is favored by 1.5 points at home. The over under is 48.5. And I'm going to take the Vikings to whole serve at home by the score of 27-24. Now on Sunday night, you got the 8-7 Atlanta Falcons, first place in the NFC South, and they're traveling to take on the 10-5 Washington Commanders, two teams that have their sights set on the postseason with rookie quarterbacks leading the way. Of course, Jaden Daniels has been there all year for Washington, and now Michael Penix Jr. does have one game under his belt as Falcons quarterback. But nonetheless, the Jaden Daniels show, will this Atlanta defense be able to slow him down? And now Washington really only has one game of film on Michael Penix to try to dissect him and see what he can and cannot do, as he picked the New York Giants defense apart last Sunday like a Christmas ham. I'll tell you like this. These are two exciting young rookies. I think we're going to be hearing about their respective names for a very long time. Washington is favored by 3.5 points at home. I'm going to take the Commanders by a touchdown, though, 31-24. And finally, on Monday night, you got the 13-2 Detroit Lions traveling to the scene of the crime, if you will. Back to Santa Clara to take on the 6-9 San Francisco 49ers. Just like the Jets and Bills that I talked about earlier, this game was scheduled late in the season like this because there was a possibility of these two teams meeting again in the postseason. We remember them in the NFC Championship game last year. The Lions jumped out to that big first half lead, but they were unable to sustain it. And of course, many people are going to look back and question Dan Campbell, not once, but multiple times as far as going for it on fourth down. However, things have changed drastically this season. The injury bug has really hit the 49ers and derailed their opportunity to try to get back to the postseason. And if you're the Lions, you got to smell the blood in the water and you got to go out there and take advantage of that. I expect Jared Goff and this Lions offense to be on top of their game. They're favored by 3.5 points in this one in Santa Clara for the Niners home finale of the season. But I'm going to take the Lions by 11, 31-20. So, folks, those are my picks for this week in the world of the National Football League. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.